Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here, Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digital TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Migrant stakeholders run biya bimwebiri jemisinde zigenda okubera kusawe kololo ku Sunday nga 2 October tudduka okusonda sente okudabiriza kifo ekibudabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo eddembe ly'abannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo n'olwekyo weetabe mu kudabiriza kifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namave ne Shell Buloba. Biwagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibako ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, Uwera ne Migrant Workers Voice. Ne bitegekebwa Sinat Advertising.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Twetonda munaforaka akayiseemu naye nga nkwaniriza nnyo ku the Mighty Global News Updates nze Omumbejja Luwedde Lilian okubanga ate nkutuusaako amawulire agabadde ate gwe gy'otaabadde oba gy'otasobodde kubeera. Olunaku olwaleero lunaku lwakuna ennaku z'omwezi tubala 22 omwezi tuli mu gwa Mutundu omwaka 2022 mbabuuzaako yonna gye musinzidde okubanga mutulaba abatulabira mu ggwanga Uganda n'ebitundu by'eggwanga ebyenjawulo. Akakuba kakedde okubanga ate katonya naye nga ffe munnange nga bwe twewaayo okubanga tukuweereza weetuli nnyo era okubanga tugenda maaso n'okuweereza n'okutuusaako ate programs ez'enjawulo. Mighty Drive buli lunaku olw'Emmande okutuuka olunaku olwokutaano eba ssaawa emu ey'okumakya ate paka ssaawa 3 ez'okumakya tubaawo wano n'ensonga ez'enjawulo zotasaanidde kubeera nga osubwa. Tubeerera ddala n'abagenyi ab'enjawulo nga tugenda maaso n'okubanga twogera ku nsonga ez'enjawulo nga bwe ziba zitambudde mu ggwanga lino erya Uganda n'ebitundu by'eggwanga ate ebyenjawulo. Olunaku olwaleero mu studios tulina Council Aaron Kiza ono nate okuvira ddala mu environmental shield tugenda kubanga twogera ku nsonga ez'enjawulo. East African Crude Oil Pipeline Project genda maaso tugenda kubanga tetugidiscussingako implications zaayo butya bwekosezza abantu n'ensonga endala nnyingi nnyo. Twalabye Parliament ya Bulaaya nga munaye naye evaayo kubanga eyogera ku nsonga eno n'esaba gavumenti ya Uganda babeere nga bakomya bunnambiro ate omulimu gw'okuzimba pipeline oba omudumu gw'amafuta ogugenda ovira ddala wano mu ggwanga erya Uganda okutuukira ddala ate mu ggwanga erya Tanzania. Tugenda kuba ate ensonga ezo nazo tuzoogerako tuwulire ye nga ate environmentalist ensonga zino azoogerako. Kino ebirala bingi nnyo bye tugenda okuba nga twogerako, ensonga za bail, mulimu ate ensonga za Computer Misuse Act. Byonna byonna tugenda kubanga ate tubyogerako engeri gye kiri nti munnamateeka ajja kuba atubuulira ate endowooza ye ku mateeka gano n'ensonga ate ez'enjawulo munnange z'otasaanidde kubeera nga osubwa. Ngenda kubanga nkutuusaako ebimu ku byabadde mawulire ate agabadde gy'otaabadde. Eggwanga Uganda tukyagenda maaso n'okuba tukyagenda maaso n'okubanga munnange tukyalwanagana n'ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola ekyakakasiddwa okuba nti kiri mu ggwanga lino lyennyini erya Uganda olunaku lwabadde Lwakubiri. Dr. Diana Atwine bwe yatutegeezeza ono ne Permanent Secretary wa Ministry of Health yatutegeezeza nti ekirwadde kino weekiri nnyo mu ggwanga lino erya Uganda era nga kino ekika kyekimanyiddwa nga Sudan strain. We bwakeredde olunaku ate olw'eggulo omuntu owokubiri yabadde amaze okubeera nga afa era nga kino kitutuusizza ku muwendo gw'abantu babiri abamaze okuba nga bafa ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola awamu n'abalala ate abawerera ddala 10 nga bano bayi era nga bo bateereddwa mu kasenga k'enjawulo mu ddwaliro lya Mubende Referral Hospital. Era nga amawulire agava eruuyi eyo agategeeza nti amabaala gonna gaggaddwa n'ebifo ebisanyukirwamu okusinziira ku RDC owa Mubende omukyala Rosemary Byabashiija ono nno ng'ate yavuddeyo okubanga akakasa ensonga zino okusinziira ate ku kakiiko akateereddwawo okulaba nga kagoberera ensonga nga bwe zitambula ku kirwadde kino ekya Ebola aka District Task Force. Ekirwadde kino munnange Uganda yasemba okubanga ate ifuna abalwadde ba Ebola mwaka ndoza gwali gwa 2019 wadde wayiseewo ebbanga ate eriwulirirako ddala so nga ate wenjogerera ekirwadde kino mu ggwanga Uganda mwekiri. Districts ez'enjawulo zikyagenda maaso n'okubanga ate ziteekebwa mu line okubanga zigobererwa kuno nno kwe kuli ne Kampala District okusinziira nti kyekibuga ky'eggwanga ekikulu ate nga n'emirimu egigenda maaso n'okubanga gikolebwa mu Kampala miyitirivu okusinziira ku nnamba ate ey'abantu abangi ababeera mu Kampala okubanga bakakalabya emirimu gyabwe. Ebimu ate kwolabira oba obubonero kwolabira omuntu alina obulwadde buno bwa Ebola waba mulimu omusujja ogw'amaanyi, okulumwa omutwe, omubiri okuggwamu amaanyi, okulumizibwa mu nnyingo, amabwa mu bulago, okutanaka, okubleeding oba okuvaamu omusaayi mu bitundu by'omubiri ebyenjawulo. Buno bwe bumu ku bubonero kw'osobola okulabira ate omuntu alina obulwadde buno obwa Ebola era nga bw'obanga omulabye mu kitundu w'owangalira oba ate wonna w'oli osobola okuba nga munnange naawe omutwala mu ddwaliro okusobola okulaba nga ate afuna obujjanjabi. Tubeere bakalaba bwe kituuka ate ku nsonga zino ez'ebyobulamu tukuumagane tusobole okubeera nga ate tuli balamu era nga abantu bakyagenda maaso n'okuba nga bali bulindaala. Bw'otunulira eddwaliro lino erya Mubende Referral Hospital abantu abamu batandise dda okuba nga balyesamba olw'ensonga nti abalwadde bano aba Ebola ate munnange bwe batwalibwa okuba nga bafuna obujjanjabi. Naye ng'ate bwe tweyongerayo ne mawulire amalala wabaddewo omukolo gw'okujjukira ate wabadde omukolo gw'okujjukira Chief Justice Benedicto Kiwanuka ono nno nga yafa mu mwaka ogwa 1972 kitegeeza giweredde ddala emyaka 5 bukyanga ate Chief Justice Benedicto Kiwanuka munnange attibwa nga bwe bigambibwa nti yattibwa Idi Amin Dada olw'okufuna obutakkaanya ku nsonga ye ze yategeeza oba ezayogerwa nti yali takkiririza mu nfuga ye munnange mu kiseera ekyo era nga ku mulundi guno omukolo gwabadde n'omulamwa nga batunuulira okwetengerera kwesiga eddamuzi oba ate awamu n'ebitongole ebya gavumenti. Munnange omukolo guno gwabaddeko Chief Justice Alphonse Owiny-Dollo okwo ate n'omukulembeze w'eggwanga General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni era nga naye yabaddeyo nnyo ku mukolo guno. Minister wa Justice and Constitutional Affairs oba Minister ataputa ssemateeka Honorable Norbert Mao naye yabaddeyo nnyo ku mukolo guno era n'ategeeza nti munnange amasiga gano aga gavumenti agagenda ate gaggwamu ekitiibwa ekireetedde ne bannansi okubanga batandika ate okucrackinga jokes munnange ku masiga gano aga gavumenti. Yannyonnyodde butya agamu bwe gayitibwa legislature n'aginnyonnyola nayo butya abamu munnange bwe bajogerako naye Chief Justice Alphonse Owiny-Dollo ono nno ate yayogedde ku nsonga y'okwetengerera kw'essiga lino eddamuzi n'ategeeza nti kino nno kijja kubeerawo bwe babeera nga abantu abali appointed munnange basaanidde okubanga munnange be babeera mu bifo ebyo oba abalamuzi ate n'abantu ab'enjawulo bwe baba nga munnange bagwanidde era nga balina ebisaanyizo ebimala era n'okulaba nti munnange ba judicial officers bafuna security munnange n'okulaba nga bateeka mu nkola ebyo byonna ebiba bisaliddwawo ate kooti era nga omukulu Bernard Owundo ono nayakulira ekibiina ekitaba bannamateeka naye yavuddeyo n'ayogera ku nsonga y'aba security agencies era n'ategeeza nti bano bakoze kyamaanyi nnyo okuziimuula ate ebiragiro ebya kooti nga kooti ewa ebiragiro eby'enjawulo naye ng'ate bano abakuumaddembe munnange bavaayo ebimu ate ne babiziimuula okwo nno kw'otadde n'okuwakanya ebisigadde. Ne President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni yavuddeyo n'awakanya ate ebyayogeddwa abakulu okuli Chief Justice Owiny-Dollo ate n'omukulu ono Bernard Owundo n'ategeeza nti abantu abamu bo tebakkiriza na kusalawo kwa kooti olw'ensonga nti bo tebabikkirizaamu kubanga amateeka gano oba oliawo essiga eddamuzi gerikola oba gerifulumya gaba ate gakosa abantu abalala. Era n'ayogera ne ku nsonga ya bail n'ategeeza nti munnange abalamuzi basuusizza okuwa bbeiro abantu munnange abakoze emisango egya nnaggumi. Era n'ategeeza nti bagenda kubanga babaga amateeka okusobola okulaba nga bakyusaamu ko ate mu nsonga eno eya bail. Kinajjukirwa nti omukulembeze w'eggwanga guno si gwe mulundi ate ogusoose okuvaayo kubanga ayogera ku nsonga eno eya bail. Wabaddewo ensonga ez'enjawulo wakati w'essiga eddamuzi n'omukulembeze w'eggwanga nga bakuubagana ku nsonga eyo yennyini eya bail naye nga olunaku olwaleero nga bwe tulina munnamateeka ajja kubanga ayongera okututangazaamu ku nsonga eno yennyini eya bail ne guidelines empya ate munnange eziriwo. Bwe nayongerayo munnange NEMA National Environment Management Authority bo bavuddeyo ate ne bategeeza nti tebagenda kugenda mu maaso na kusazaamu contract gye baawa kampani ya Total ku mulimu gw'okuzimba ate pipeline eyo nno ate eyogerwako. Munnange bo bagamba tebagenda kuvaayo kubanga basazaamu nsonga eno olw'ensonga nti buli kimu ekyali kyetaagisa bakigoberera era ne balaba nga munnange pipeline eno tegenda kubanga ekosa obutonde bw'ensi nga bwe kyategeezeddwa Parliament eya Bulaaya bwe yategeezezza nti omulimu guno gwetaaga okubanga gukomezebwa Bunnambiro olw'ensonga nti ensonga y'obutonde bw'ensi egenda kubanga erinnyiriddwa okunnokozesa ensonga ate ey'eddembe ery'obuntu. Omwogezi wa NEMA ono nno ye Naomi Namara yategeezezza nti munnange bano nno aba Paalamenti eya Bulaaya bagenza okukola ate okusalawo kuno nga tebakoze kunoonyereza kumala oba ate tebafunye amawulire gamala ku nsonga eno yennyini. Era n'ategeeza nti obutategeeragana obuliwo busobola okuba nga bukolwako ne tekinologi oyo yennyini gwe balina, era nga munnange pipeline eno ebimu ku byayogeddeko egenda kuba nga eyitira ddala wansi mu ttaka. So ensonga y'obutonde bw'ensi munnange eyinza okubeera nga terinnyiddwa, naye ng'era ensonga y'eddembe ly'obuntu eyo nno ate yagyogeddeko nnyo. National Association of Professional Environmentalists NAPE ekibiina omwegattirwa abalwanyizi b'obutonde bw'ensi nabo basanyufu nnyo ku ekyo ekyasaliddwawo Paalamenti y'amawanga ga Bulaaya, era ne bategeeza nti bo baagala kampani eno eya Total eyaweebwa ttenda y'okuba nga ate ekola ku mudumu gw'amafuta guno munnange ekansolingibwe, era ne bategeeza nti pipeline eno bw'otunulira wa weegenda okuyita egenda kuba nga ekosa obutonde bw'ensi kubanga egenda kuba nga eyita mu swamps ez'enjawulo ate ne wetlands ez'enjawulo. Naye nga ye omukulembeze w'eggwanga kinajjukira nti yategeeza nti omulimu guno ogw'okukola pipeline tegugenda kubanga guyimirizibwa yadde, era n'ategeeza kampani eya Total eyaweebwa ttenda munnange nti bwe banaagezaako okwekyusa bano nno bajja kuba nga batwalibwa ate mu mbuga z'amateeka. Ago ge mawulire agava nate eruyi eyo. Era bwe neeyongerayo ku nsonga zino eza pipeline omukulu Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ono ye mukulembeze w'ekibiina kya National Unity Platform, era naye yavuddeyo n'asanyukira ensonga eno yennyini eya Paalamenti ya Bulaaya okuba nti basabye eggwanga erya Uganda libeere nga liyimiriza omulimu gw'okukola omudumu guno gwennyini ogw'amafuta, era nga ye musanyufu nnyo n'agamba okusinziira ku maanyi ge bataddemu nga bawandiikira amawanga gano agali aga Bulaaya agabadde gavujjirira Uganda ensimbi, nga babategeeza nti ensimbi ze muwaayo munnange omukulembeze w'eggwanga azikozesa mu nsonga ndala nnyo okuli ate ensonga y'okulemesalemesa abo bonna abamuvuganya awamu n'ensonga ate ey'okutyoboola eddembe ly'obuntu. Era yategeezezza nti bo bakyagenda ddala mu maaso n'okukola buli ekisoboka okuba nga balemesa omukulembeze w'eggwanga oba okulemesa eggwanga Uganda okuba nga lifuna obugabirizi bwonna okuva mu mawanga ate ag'ebunaayira. Era nga yategeezezza nti eggwanga Uganda bwe linatandika okusima amafuta litandika okufuna akasente eggwanga lyaffe lino liyinza okufuukira ddala nga eggwanga erya North Korea. N'ategeeza nti omukulembeze w'eggwanga ajja kuba talinaako kyonna kye basobola kubanga bamugamba. Naye ng'ate ye Deputy Speaker wa Parliament Honorable Thomas Tayebwa gye buvuddeko yategeeza nti ensonga nga zino omukago gwa Paalamenti ya Bulaaya si erina okuba nga ezoogerako, zino zirina kuba nga ate ezoogerwako mu Paalamenti eya Uganda. Omukulu oyo naye ate bw'atyo bwe yategeeza gye buvuddeko. Naye tugenda kuba nga ate tugayagaya mu nsonga eyo tutunuulire ki ekituufu ekyetaaga okuba nga kitunuulirwa. Tugenda tunuulira ensonga ya butonde bwansi oba tutunuulire enkulaakulana y'eggwanga, because amafuta gano munnange gabadde oba oliawo gayinza okubaako bye gakyusa bwe kituuka ku nsonga y'okulaakulanya eggwanga. Naye abalwanyirizi b'obutonde bw'ensi nabo bategeeza nti amafuta gano bwe ganaabeera nga agasimiddwa omudumu guno ne gukolebwa ogw'okugatambuza okutuukira ddala mu ggwanga erya Tanzania, kino nate kigenda kukoseza ddala obutonde bw'ensi. Naye ng'ate NEMA omukyalo oyo omwogezi wa NEMA ye yategeeza nti bagenda kuyita mu Lake Victoria yo basazeewo babeere ng'ate bagiyita bukumabbali. So naye n'ategeeza nti ensonga y'obutonde bw'ensi munnange yatunuulirwa nga tebannaba kubanga bateeka omukono ku ndagaano eyo yennyini ey'okukola pipeline y'okutambuza amafuta. Bwe nayongerayo eddakiika ziri 22 ezakayita ku ssaawa emu ey'amakya g'olunaku luno olwaleero n'atera okuba nga amawulire nga wunzika. Sulaiman Jakana Nadduli ono nate yateereddwa ku kakalu ka kkooti ka bukadde 5 ez'obuliwo, so nga ate bo abaamweyimiridde abo obukadde basabiddwa obukadde 10 era nga zino zo si zaabuliwo. Sulaiman Jakana Nadduli ate munnange nonno mutabani wa Haj Nadduli Abdul nono yaliko minisita ate yaliko n'omuwabuzi w'omukulembeze w'eggwanga. Sulaiman Jakana Nadduli yakwatibwa ku bigambibwa nti yakozesa bubi emikutu gye mugatta abantu nga yerekodinga akavidiyo n'akateeka ku mukutu gwe ogwa YouTube ng'ate munnange agenda maaso n'okwawulayawula mu mawanga okusinga ddala abanyankole awamu n'abavandimwe nga bwe kyategeezeddwa ab'oludda oluwawaabira. Munnange ono nno yaguddwako ate munnange omusango gw'okwawulayawula mu bantu era nga waliwo abagamba nti Computer Misuse Act yazze kubanga ate erimesa abantu kwetaya nakubaako bye boogera okusinziira ku bo bwe babeera nga balina ebibaluma. Omubaka Hassan Kirumira nonno ye mubaka owa Katikamu yategeezezza nti mu ggwanga tulina ensonga ya freedom of speech and expression, so abantu munnange buli omu waddembe okwogera ki kyabeera ayagadde. Naye nga kinajjukirwa nti omukulu ono Jakana Nadduli munnange yasooka nakkiriza emisango gino bwe yalabikako mu Parliament ennaku z'omwezi nga 9 omwezi guno gwennyini era naye ate oluvannyuma bwe yakomezebwawo ng'ennaku z'omwezi 13 munnange ensonga zino n'azeegaana ekyaleetera omulamuzi okumusindika ate mu nkomyo okutuusa bwe yakomezeddwawo olunaku olw'eggulo nga 21 era n'aweebwa bail. Awo nno abadde amaze ennaku eziwera ddala 16 ng'ate musibe olw'ensonga nti yasibibwa ng'ennaku z'omwezi 5 omwezi guno gwennyini gwe tulimu ku nsonga ezo ez'okukozesa obubi emitimbagano. Ngenda kubanga ate empunzika n'amawulire gano ag'olunaku luno olwaleero naye kampunzike n'ensitory eno ey'omusumba w'e Kajjansi eyakwatiddwa omukulu ono ng'amanyiddwa nga Geoffrey Ssemwogerere olw'okusiba abantu mu ngeri emenya amateeka. Guno nno gwe musango ogwamuguddwako. Omukulu ono yabadde asumba ekkanisa ya New Jerusalem Church era nga abantu be abadde nga abasiba ku njegere. Waliwo obuvidiyo obwabadde butambula era nga kigambibwa nti abadde ayagala kutunda ate bitundu byabwe eby'omunda munnange abeere nga yeewangulira ku ssente oba ku nnusu ezanaabeera afunye mu nsonga nga zino. Kinajjukirwa nti gye buvuddeko waliwo omusumba ow'eHoima naye eyakwatibwa ku nsonga z'okkuba abagoberezi emiggo. Tukyagenda mu maaso n'okuwulira ebintu nga bino mu bitundu by'eggwanga ate eby'enjawulo naye nze neebuuza abakulu bano babasumba bano bo ani abavunaanyizibwako? Gavumenti ekoze ekimala okunoonyereza ate ku bintu bino ebigenda mu maaso mu makanisa ag'enjawulo mu ggwanga erya Rwanda. Waliwo bwe nasomako ng'omukulembeze weeyo omukulu Paul Kagame yagenda maaso n'okuba nga aggalawo ekkanisa eziwerera ddala 6 wamu n'emizikiti nga abagamba nti neetaaga ebbaluwa zammwe okuva mu theological schools oba ate mu masomero agasomesa eddiini. Buli kisinga tolina bbaluwa munnange ebyokubanga oggulawo ekkanisa ebyo nno munnange bisiibule. Naye wano mu ggwanga erya Uganda oli akeera n'omwoyo ku mutwe n'agenda maaso n'aggulawo ekkanisa ate n'operatinga nga tewali amukubye ku mukono. Y'ensonga lwaki tugenze maaso n'okulaba ebintu nga bino nga bibaawo. Waliwo n'omusumba yakwatibwa ndooza gye buvuddeko awo ku nsonga z'okusaddaaka omwana. Ensonga nnyingi nnyo zetuze tuwulira ku nsonga zino ez'abasumba era n'ono omukulu Geoffrey Ssemwogerere ekkanisa ye ebadde Sseguku mu Wakiso district era nga munnange eno nno gy'abadde asumbira endiga. Ngenda kubanga mpunzika olunaku olwaleero ne Mighty Global News Updates zaffe era nga nze kutegeeza nti poliisi yo ekyagendera ddala mu maaso n'okukola ebikwekweto ku nguudo era munnange gw'alina ekidduka weetegeka okubanga obasanga awantu wonna. Ekikwekweto kino tekikyaliko nti ono gundi buli omu bamukwata. Olunaku olw'ejjo nina amawulire ge nawuliddeko ku mukulu omu gwe babadde bakwatidde ekidduka kye naye ensonga ezaavuddeyo tezaabadde ensonga nnungi. So ebintu bino Ekikweketo kino kizingiddemu abantu ab'enjawulo, kizingiddemu waliwo abamu be nalabako nga ba TV presenters, waliwo abakozi abamu abaali bagenda mu offices zaabwe ez'enjawulo naye nga bakutegeeza nti munnange ffenna batukutte, ekikweketo tekikyamanyi nti ono gundi oba ate ono gundi. So munnange kakasa nti ekidduka ky'ovuga kirina ebisaanyizo byonna ebyetaagisa naawe mwennyini akivuga naawe era okakasiza ddala nti olina ebyo byonna ebitambulisa ebyetaagisa bwe kituuka ku kuvuga ekidduka kino. The Mighty Global News Updates ezo badde oli mu kulaba nze Omumbejja Luwedde Lydian. Tugenda kuba nga tuwumulamu katono nnyo. Bwe tukomawo ngenda kukomawo n'omwami Rogers tuli ahabwe awamu n'omugenyi waffe Council Aaron Kiza. Tugende mu maaso n'okugaayagaaya mu nsonga ate nga bwe zitambula mu ggwanga lino erya Uganda. Bw'oba oyagala kubeera kitundutundu ku programu eno genda butereevu mu comment section ku page yaffe ya The Alternative Uganda oba Digital TV otekeyo endowooza yo. Omukulu najja kubanga agidda mu kyonna ekibuuzo kyagala okubuuza ku nsonga z'amateeka n'ensonga z'obutonde bw'ensi. Council Aaron Kiza ajja kubanga aziddamu. Katuwumulemu katono nnyo, tukomawo temuvaawo.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Migrant stakeholders run bill abimwebiri emisinde gigenda okubeera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku Sande nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudaabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya $2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namambe ne Shell Buloba. Biwagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibwa ku ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, UERA ne Migrant Workers Voice. Nebitegekebwa Sinat Advertising.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digital TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
A very, very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to today's edition of the Mighty Drive. My name is Roger Suriabwe, and myself and my colleague Lydian Luwedde have the privilege today to serve you in the capacity of a moderator for this discussion. We have a gentleman who it is a privilege to host. I like him as an individual, but also because we share a lot of things. One, he's a lawyer. Two, he's also an environmentalist. And today we have a cross-cutting discussion, one that has left me personally conflicted. And so today I'm here to learn from him, but you should also be learning from him now. There has been this whole discussion of EACOP and which one is a lesser evil. We seem to be at the crossroads of whether we need the national growth and development or to preserve the environment. Now, it is a mixed feeling on both discussions, and so today we are going to unpack this whole discussion, but also particularly following the whole resolution from the European Union Parliament to halt and stop the whole extraction of oil and stop the EACOP from that whole operation. Now we want to understand on the environmental perspective, are we not losing the national growth path? And a lot of people really seem to be lost between, some even of who are environmentalists are saying that they are not supporting the EACOP because particularly, well, apart from the environment, because probably the proceeds of the money of the oil is not going to benefit the country as a whole, but the 1%. Now that seems to be deviating from the whole fact of the environmental discussion. But today we're going to learn from a gentleman, and I'm just eager to learn from him, and he should also be. But before that, I'll invite Lillian to also say hello, and then we can dive into the discussion right away. Lillian, good morning.
Good morning, Rogers. Ndaba wetegekedde show.
Netegekedde.
Naye. A very good morning, viewers. Bade mwebale nnyo kubanga mukera naffe buli lunaku olw'emmanda okutuuka olunaku olwokutaano ssaawa mu y'okumakya paka ssaawa 3. The Mighty Drive ye program gy'oli mu kulaba. Tuli butereevu ku the Alternative Uganda Facebook page ne Digital TV. Osobola okubeera kitundutundu ku program eno. Alina ekibuuzo ky'oteesa. Mwe mwenna abalwanirizi b'obutonde bw'ensi ate ensonga eno ndowooza nsonga nkulu nnyo ayagala okubaako naawe kyoteesa mu comment section oba okiteeka tujja kubanga tukisoma nga program tennaba kubanga ewunzika olunaku luno olwaleero kwe tuli nnyo ku YouTube channel yaffe The Alternative Uganda. Genda subscribing onyige n'akadaako osobole okubeera nga naawe owoomerwa videos ez'enjawulo eza programs ezibeera ate ziteereddwayo. Council Aaron Kiza yakkalidde dda mu katebe ndowooza kasooka atulamuseeko. Tugenda kozesa olulimi oluzungu n'olulimi Oluganda kusobola okubanga audiences zaffe ez'enjawulo zonna ate zifunamu. Council, good morning.
Good morning.
Noza tukozese Luganda. Okay, let's use English. We can use both. Say hello to our viewers.
Ndi musanyufu okubeera wano ku Big Talk studio ate nyagala kusaasira mikwano gyange babasibako kirungi bakomyewo ate nga sibatiitiivu kubanga bw'otandika okwogera ku nsonga ya EACOP basajja batooto babeera banyiivu ate banene bawanvu bayinza okusumulula amagye gaabwe ne gajja wano ne gakuwambako. So kirungi tuli beeteefuteefu kunyonnyola eno ensonga eya pipeline tutandike nga bweri tujja kunyonnyola bulungi tulabe kiki EACOP kyekiki EACOP kitegeeza ki ku by'obutonde, EACOP kitegeeza ki ku by'obulamu bwaffe, EACOP kitegeeza ki ku by'obugabe bwaffe. Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome, sir, to today's discussion. To begin with, I want to understand your position. What do you think about EACOP as a whole, the whole project as you see it, as it stands, given the fact that you're a human rights lawyer, but you're also an environmental one? You're an environmentalist. So on both sides, you kind of are there. Which kind of places in your discussion? But also, I understand that you're one who probably would have the interests of the country at heart. What do you think about EACOP?
EACOP is it's a blunder. EACOP is a private company. We need to understand that EACOP is a private company. It's a European company. It's not a Ugandan company. Although it's going to carry our oil, the profits, 70% of the profit will go to Chinese and French, to Total and Sinok. We only have 15% stake in EACOP as Uganda as a country. Little wonder that people say they signed these agreements when they were not seeing. Little wonder we are opposing them because the foreigners are going to get more from EACOP than the Ugandans, yet the resources are ours. EACOP is a potent threat to fundamental human rights and freedoms. Already they are rounding up, they have arrested many human rights defenders in the area who are working around oil. They are already closed up organizations which are interested in oil governance in the country. They don't allow journalists to cover it freely. They don't allow people to visit it freely, and so much so that, and that was one of the complaints of the EU resolution, that there is a delegation of EU that was stopped from visiting. So you can imagine, by the time people stop diplomats, what about ordinary citizens? And of course, there are compensation delay and compensation insufficiency issues that have plagued this whole EACOP and specifically by the entire oil extraction in the country. Rights to livelihood, rights to a safe and clean and sustainable environment, rights to freedom of participation, freedom of association are all being impaired by this project we call EACOP. So we are going to get a little economically. Our rights are being jeopardized, and it's a war on nature. It will jeopardize both the soil biodiversity and over the ground biodiversity. It crosses a plethora of Ramsar sites from Kabare in Hoima, where it commences, to the Tanga port of Tanzania, where it will stop. It will cross the Lake Victoria Basin. It will cross the entire ecosystem around the Lake Victoria Basin. It will jeopardize the wetland ecosystem around Lake Albert. Water will be drawn directly from Lake Albert. Over 132 oil wells are sunk and will be in Maction Falls National Park. You remember all that area is where we have the Bugoma Forest landscape, which is receding at 1 acre per day. So the environmental consequences of EACOP are incalculably dire and will live for years to recover. Already we are not doing, the context again is very important. Our forest cover is always receding. Our wetlands are under severe pressure. And again, in the sign of our difference to foreign investors, the feeble attempts of government to freeze activity in wetlands has accepted and excluded investors. So while the three of us in studio can not, or at least shouldn't invade the wetlands, foreigners who have invaded the wetlands according to government official position have a free reign. And it is very sad. Whichever wetland you pass along the road, wherever in Kampala, it's under severe pressure, it's under severe attack. And a few times NEMA comes out is to deal with the fringe people, vulnerable people. So EACOP is a threat to human rights. EACOP is a threat to the environment. EACOP is a threat to biodiversity. EACOP is a poor economic project. And all those points to the failure to adhere to sustainable development. EACOP is contrary to our climate commitments enshrined under the Paris Agreement on Climate Change of 2015, reached at the COP21, Conference of the Parties, the 21st Conference of the Parties of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
Okay.
So all of this we are saying is backed by science. Our opposition to that fossil fuel development in the Albertine region is not only a threat to all those environmental, human rights, human health threats, but the authoritative international bodies like UN Climate Change, the UN General Secretary, the World Health Organization. For them, they made a very strong opposition report and declaration and demand this Wednesday on 14 September. Last Wednesday on 14 September, and they said that we need even a total ban of new fossil fuel development. Fossil fuels include oil, gas, and coal. They said that they highlighted again the danger of pollution as causing 7 million deaths per annum, and they showed the cancerous effect of oil pollution, and the fact that oil will leave a lot of waste materials in the ecosystem of where it will pass, heavy metals and other toxic substances. And the other point I'm yet to mention, which is very environmentally important, is that oil spills will happen. It's not a suggestion, it's not speculation, it's an engineering rate that there will be oil spills. The scientists have proclaimed that. And of course, the scientists have also from World Health Organization, which is in charge with the gatekeeping of health, the custodian of global health. They have said we shouldn't do any new fossil fuel development, and existing fossil fuel development should be phased down in a quick, fair, and equitable manner. So, as I said, the future is green. The days of oil are over. We just need to ditch our addiction with fossil fuel. And yes, I can confirm to him that we are very patriotic. That's why we oppose this unhealthy project, dangerous project, and port utility, and economical and viable project. It is opposed here in Uganda. Total is facing pressure in Europe. And the entire world is waking up to the gloom and doom that we call EACOP, and it's our duty to all rise up, oppose it, whether by demonstration, by petitions, by litigation, by advocacy, whatever tool you have, raise your voice and oppose EACOP. It is not going to help anyone except a few political and military elite and business elite from Europe, and they are commission agents in Uganda. The ordinary Ugandan ordinary.
Council Chair, sorry to cut you short. Now that is where my actually issue stands. We seem to have, well, aside from the environmental effects of the whole extraction of oil and the whole process, the other people who are against the projects are not, it's not that it's going to spoil the environment or something. They actually seem interested in the project, only that it will benefit a few people. So are we just at crossroads of deciding which one is a lesser evil?
I think this is an easy thing to decide from whichever way you look at it, whether it's environmental or economics. You cannot have right economics in a wrong governance environment. The oil governance is wrong. They are shrouded in secrecy. Even our parliament doesn't know what laws they are passing around EACOP, around oil, because they haven't been given information. The media cannot access key documents on EACOP. They are not on their website, contrary to their claims. So in an environment where there is no transparency, where there is opacity, where there is secrecy on a resource that gigantic, then you're going to, it's a recipe for disaster. The environment is not a side issue, it's a very important issue. It's the crux of our existence. We cannot open a war on nature. We need to put people and their health over profit. We shouldn't be like Total that is pressing profits before people and our planet. We need to work with nature. Nature is the source of our medicine. Nature is the source of our shelter. Nature is the source of our food. Nature gives us water. Nature gives us oxygen. Nature gives us everything that money cannot give us. We should guard it jealously. It's a very important issue. But as you said again, even the economics just don't do it. The dates that we are contracting, it's not a favor. We have to pay all the dates. But Total and EACOP has a tax waiver of 10 years. EACOP is registered in UK. EACOP is a French company, is a majority French company. Like, everything just doesn't add up.
Yeah,
Why are we?
Even the people who are going to be working in the whole extraction process, most of them are expatriates.
Yes, the critical sectors are, even Ugandans are not going to provide food. Uganda has the best food in the world.
And that was a part of the major discussions, citing the fact that since the project is coming here, there's going to be a lot of work for Uganda.
Yes, business community. So it's even bad for our business, because do you really believe that our business people cannot provide food to the EACOP establishment? And why don't they want to eat our food anyway? Let's start from there. For us, we eat Indian food, we eat Italian food. Like, when you go to a country, yes, you want your food, but you also have to eat their food. It is part of integration. Yes. You cannot come here, you fly from France, and you say that you're only going to be eating French food or Italian food. They should have respect for this country and its culture. people cannot even bury their dear ones just because of EACOP.
Yeah, I saw some people being displaced. They cannot access even
Once they start valuing or assessing, then they tell you that there is something they call a cut-off date. Then you are not supposed to do perennial crops. Then people can't read through agreements they are signing. Most people around there in villages, villagers, some of them are uneducated, many of them are weak, and all these come as you have no option. EACOP is here, so you have to get money. They tell you get some money or you lose out completely. They tell you can't fight government. So it is something, EACOP is something being pushed down our fragile economic, environmental, and social threats, and President Museveni is square to blame. We Ugandans and our environment are in one corner, and Museveni is standing with Total in another corner, destroying our environment, threatening our people. We need a president who stands with us, and so that together with him we can protect our environment and we can guarantee the future of not just our children, but our grandchildren. If the president is going to tweet, he had better tweet patriotic tweets, not blackmailing.
The president said, ndemu banakola batya project eno tegenda kuyimirira. N'agamba ne kampani ya Total nti bwe bagezaako okukyusa their mind bagenda batwala mu court.
But of course, he knows that the Total can heed the parliamentary resolution of their parliament. The European Parliament, even when it's advising, it's not like a Ugandan parliament that is only existing in name, which he boxes left, right, and center.
Does the European Parliament have implementation strategies that are supersede, like national sovereignty if a head of state does not accede to what they want?
What they give are mostly recommendations, but some advice is difficult to ignore. Can you lightly ignore your grandmother's advice?
No, not lightly.
Yeah, so so if the European resolution was light advice, wouldn't be here. You want to remember that EACOP debate has been there, but not as strong as once the EU Parliament made that resolution. Then suddenly the president is tweeting about it. Suddenly there is an avalanche of media advocacy from chambers of mines, from PAU, Petroleum Authority, from UNOC. They are all over. They are running around tweeting, speaking,
but
giving interviews, doing petitions, engineering demonstrations.
But still it doesn't give like much foundation for the EU to implement such kind of things. So at the end of the day, like you said, I may not lightly, refuse what my grandmother tells me, but I can demonstrably something like that. Refuse.
Yes, you can
so
refuse, but you do know the costs. And also, your grandmother may not only tell you that, but may also warn your siblings against associating with you on this specific project they are advising you against. So the EU advice is also specifically addressed to Total. It is addressed to the Council of Europe, which for it is an implementing organ as authoritative advice. And it's also a signal to the markets that where French Total is looking for credit, they are big, but they don't have enough money to finance EACOP.
They cannot, obviously.
So
and I've seen some banks.
They are looking for banks. Banks are running away.
Yeah.
Banks are running away because we are highlighting these human rights issues to the banks. They are running away. So Total is being put under severe pressure. The Macron French government is being put under pressure because they are not supposed to support environmental and human rights infringements in Africa or anywhere in the world. And the pressure points are building around them so much so that we believe that soon the French government will stop quietly supporting Total. They are not openly supporting it. They are also
they are
not giving them final, but at a diplomatic level, we have not yet confirmed that they are no longer supporting them. But we believe that this EU resolution might change their mind about.
Were there impact assessments?
Yes, there was an environmental impact assessment, showed But even the best of environmental impact assessments cannot stop human rights violations in a culture of impunity like Uganda. I mean, what is happening in EACOP just shows you that we need more than an environmental impact assessment to protect nature, to protect human rights, and protect the environment. The environmental impact assessments can be done in such a way as the EACOP environmental impact assessments, so as to paint a rosy picture of what the benefits will be, and then superficially paper over the threats, the violations, and the problems to the environment, to biodiversity, to human rights. So there is nothing, whether it is law, whether it is regulatory approval and supervision, whether it is the environmental impact assessments, which are by the way done by the project developers, that can sufficiently shield us from the adequate consequences of going ahead with EACOP. EACOP is the longest heated oil pipeline in the world. Nowhere else has it been done. Not in Europe, not in America. So you can guess the stakes. There was no oil enough without an EACOP would be a danger to our health and the environment. The extraction of oil, especially in an African environment, riddled with poor governance. But EACOP ups the ante. It worsens the situation. You want to recall what is happening in DRC with ordinary minerals. You want to remember that we have had this chaos before with the Ogoniland in the Niger Delta.
Niger,
yeah. So
it was labeled a curse to Niger.
once oil starts coming out, then you have to prepare for a Niger-like situation here. You may even have a civil war. We want peace and development.
And
we
Niger
don't
has
want
never
oil
been the
spills.
same since.
We don't, like, the things that are going to come with oil are nasty. Although Total, because of profits, is telling you that, oh, everything will be well, and Museveni is singing their song and saying, oh, we shall get into which kind of country first? Like, he thinks we shall be
why is because now we have had the resolution from the EU. Total comes from an EU country, in fact all of them, and most of these extractions that have happened even around Africa, apart from Uganda itself, have all majorly been influenced by the European countries and the Americas. Why don't they stop them? Those very people who come from the other side, why do they have to first get this side, and then it becomes an issue of Uganda as a country?
EACOP is fossil fuel extraction. It was, the world was initially powered by fossil fuel.
Yes, it was.
But it at a heavy cost. That's why we are having the whole climate change debate, because reliance on fossil fuel has put us in a situation whereby we are going to die if we don't solve the climatic situation. And that's why we had the Paris Agreement saying that we keep temperature rise up to 1.5 degrees Celsius relative to pre-industrial levels. That's 1880. Now, we have only 10 years, actually 9 years to do that, according to the United Nations Environment Program. A very short window. That's why last year, the International Energy Agency came up with an authoritative report saying that all new fossil fuel developments must stop and existing ones phased down. We must think clean energy. We must think renewable energy development will go on, but not with dirty oils, not with fossil fuels, but with the sun. Uganda has enough sun to develop us. We have enough wind to develop us, and other forms of clean energy. We don't have to be addicted and slaves to things that are going to kill us. EACOP, fossil fuel, these are cancers. They are both cancerous and cancers to the economy. So they are cancerous in the real term of like they cause cancer, yes. But they also are cancer to the economy and other aspects of our existence. So the European Parliament, it's not everyone in Europe who wants EACOP to stop. There are those who want it to go ahead. The French, as you said, are Europeans. Some business people are only interested in profit. They don't care about our lives. They don't care about the environment. And they don't care about the future of their children. And that is what Total is showing. Despite, of course, it doing some greenwashing, claiming that they are also interested in environment and a carbon neutral project. So experts have shown that this is even financially not feasible a project, because very soon we could get stuck with oil that no one wants. Because no one is, the time is coming when people will be just saying, no, what are you supplying oil, please? Don't remain, don't allow him in. There's no, to discuss what? No one wants to discuss a dirty oil when climate change gets worse. Again, you need to pay attention to climate change. Nature is speaking with floods in Kasese, with more mudslides in Eastern region, with hunger in Karamoja, like all around us. Now, all of those things are going to continue getting worse per year, until our eyes actually open, and we say that we need to work to protect our environment. So for us, instead of fixing our climate and environment, even as those things are happening, we are cutting more forests. Forests are carbon things. Forests modify the weather. Forests give us medicine, they give us identity. A lot of things, yeah. So they give us oxygen, they purify, they fight pollution. But now you have pollution, you're causing pollution, and even the things that would help you to fight pollution, you are moving it. So it's like it is cold, and you start stripping naked, and you are outside. Even when you see a house like this, you bring it down. That's our behavior. So we need to wake up and fix our environment and know that our environment is our true friend. It's not oil.
Naye kanso ekitongole kya NEMA bo bagambye tebagenda kusazaamu contracts zino zebakola era zebasayininga olw'ensonga nti byonna ebyali byetaaga okugobererwa ensonga za environment zonna bazitunuulira. Era omukyala Naomi spokesperson ye yategeezezza nti ebimu ku bye bagenda okukola kwe kuba nti pipeline egenda kuyita wansi mu ttaka era n'okulaba nga bakuma obutonde bw'ensi. N'agamba tebagenda yita mu Lake Victoria naye bagenda giyita wabbali. Era yayongeddeko n'agamba nti EU Parliament tebasoose kukola research amala na kufuna information emala nga tebannakola resolution eno.
Aba EU abasponsoring the resolution bali wano mu Uganda. So ibyo gamba tebakola research amala kya bulimba. Information gye balina eva wano. Kati okusiba Dickens ekyo kya bulimba. Okudilenga compensation ekyo kya bulimba. Ne kati na messages bansindikira kati bagamba no, people are not being paid. Even people, when they sign contracts, they are paid less than they contract for. Then when they start getting interest in your land, you have to wait for years to get compensation.
After
which compensation, yes, compensation is inadequate. You don't have enough say on where you're going to be displaced. So the information is factual, is based on research. It's based on people who are in that parliament on that day coming here, but also people here in civil society, like informing them, because we know this is a word. Then for NEMA is just a sleeping, let sleeping dogs lie. They have failed to do their work of protecting our environment. I mean, even someone telling me about NEMA, they can't stop wetland degradation, they can't stop the receding forest cover, they can't stop Hoima Sugar from ignoring their own environmental impact assessment. There is nothing Hoima is doing against the big boys. It's only you and me, if we find ourselves in a wetland, that the NEMA is going to come out and give English words and give speeches and press releases. NEMA needs to start with the big boys, because the big boys are the ones that are raising our forest at a high speed. You see, NEMA can say things, but they are ignored. People ignore NEMA with impunity, especially the big guys. It's only the smaller people. Now, Total, you really want to tell me that NEMA has anything to tell Total? When even the president can't talk to Total?
Who can talk
the president is resigned.
Who can talk to Total?
So he's begging Total, please don't go, don't leave us. But if you leave us anyway, there is someone who's also interested in me. So,
the whole discussion, and I have
not even our president can fix Total. It is now really up to Total to continue with this EACOP or not, and we are telling Total to stop.
So Total chitegeza tegenda kuwuliriza na cha parliament
ya kati ye parliament esinga ku Museveni amaanyi ya wano kubanga esente zifuga eggwanga lino ziva wa Europe ennyingi ziva US ziva mu West ate ba mukwano Europe ne America, so zo zirina abo balina leverage. Naye Museveni awaaki Total, so Total esobola okuwuliriza ba EU ate Museveni nemuta, naye Total yagala Museveni kubanga Museveni agiyamba okukola amagoba kyemwagalamu, naye pressure bweyongera okuzitowa ku Total ng'eva iwaka Total ekintu bajja kukitta ali Museveni yandibadde ng'anoonya dda.
Ate nga president yabagambye bwe banakitagenda batwala mu kooti,
kati mu kooti mu agreement gye tutamanyi na kumanya, mu agreement gye wasayininga nga weebase kati Total kino kintu kyonna kya Total yekiruka. Total yagaana kujja ne wano mu ggwanga lyo nti mu judicial system kubanga judicial system bamanyi nti wasooka okugisaanyako. Total naagisobola otya? Total neri conflict gye yalina ne Taro ne conflict twagenda Europe okugiresolve. Kati kirabika ekintu kya EACOP buli answer gy'oyagala ogenda wa
Europe.
Bw'oba oyagala kugifuga ogenda wa?
Ogenda Jeva.
Bw'oba oyagala kugistopping ogenda wa?
olina kugenda Jeva.
Obuzibu busibuka mu Europe ate ne solution nayo wezisibuka. So amaaso mwina ogatunula ne mulaba source of a problem.
Okay.
Yes. Kubanga omusajja yagala amagoba yaze munene alumba buli omu amusirikisa yagala omwamu wakasente omulala amugamba nja kukuba oluyi.
Ndalabye bannayuganda agabeekalakaasa ku nsonga ya EU. Nga
babeegayirira kubanga abo bali ne Total mu kooni emu gye nakugambye Museveni gyali mu kooni ya Total ne Museveni. Kati abo bayuganda ne poliisi egamba bannange mutuyambe mubeere bakaka muwaliyo tulabyeko kati gwe gendo o demonstrating olabe police bwekuyisa police mwebasanga ne wano ne bakubirawo naye bali abatotalo yebegayira banange tubawe akachayi nyuma ipanafe police tufumba yakamere tukole tutyaka tuogere mu bintu bino police yonjagadde njere jatandise kuyisa maba na Uganda kubanga ne bana abawagira Total sebakukuba omuntu bwaba ine ensonga bugabe bwabo bayina okudemonstringa kirungi ntuteekeko space omuntu bwaba ayagala demonstrating it is okay. Ne police enjere gye yabayisemu neyagala kubawa bukyayi nayo nji nsuubira nti naffe aba stop EACOP bwe tuvaayo
bajja kuba akakyali
abapoliisi
namwe bajja kuba wacha
naye nga si eno ya button.
Kyagenda maaso the Mighty Drive ye program gy'oli mu kulaba tugenda kusooka tuwummulemu katono nnyo bwe tukomawo mu ssaawa yaffe ey'okubiri discussion egenda kubanga egenda maaso tukyali ne Council Aaron Kiza twogera nsonga za butonde bwansi nsonga za nkulaakulana ya ggwanga tutwale kiriwa tuleke kiriwa tukyagenda maaso katuwummulemu katono nnyo bwe tunaba tukomyewo gwe ayagala okubanga oteesa ng'oyita ku ssimu ngenda kubanga nkuwa ennamba z'essimu naye katusooke tukoleko ku nsimbi z'abakama baffe n'oluvannyuma tukomewo.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digital,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Migrant stakeholders run BABI Jemisinde zigenda okubera ku ssaawa ekkololo ku Sunday nga 2 October. Tudduka okusonda ssente okuddaabiriza ekifo ekibudabuda bankuba kyeyo nga bakomyewo. Eddembe lya bannayuganda bakolebwe buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe era kitukakatako okulwanirira eddembe n'obwenkanya mu mirimu gy'abankuba kyeyo. N'olwekyo weetabe mu kuddaabiriza ekifo kino ng'ogula kiti ya mitwalo 2.5 okuva ku petrol station za Shell Kabalagala, Shell Lugogo, Capital, Shell Najjanankumbi, Shell Nansana, Shell Namambe ne Shell Buloba. Biwagidwa Star Times, Reham, Fresh Dairy, Roofings, Housing Finance Bank, Maritime Cargo. Olwo ne bikutusibwa ku ofisi ya President ku nsonga z'emitala w'amayanja, UERA ne Migrant Workers Voice. Ne bitegekebwa Sinat Advertising.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Kulikayo nnyo mu kuwummulamu ku The Mighty Drive ye program gyogenda maaso n'okubanga olaba era nga nze omumbejja luwedde Lilian wamu ne munnange Rogers tulyahabwe ate nga tulina omugenyi waffe Council Aaron Kiza twogera ku nsonga ez'enjawulo, ensonga za butonde bwansi awamu n'ensonga ate endala ze tujja okuba nga twogerako mu maaso awo tuwunzikidde essaawa yaffe esoose. Council Aaron abadde akyagenda mu maaso n'okuba nga atunnyonnyola ku implications eza EACOP bwe kituuka ku ggwanga lino erya Uganda. Yayogedde ku nsonga y'ebyobulamu, ensonga y'obutonde bw'ensi n'ebirala bingi nnyo. Ate tukyagenda maaso, tuli mu ssaawa yaffe ey'okubiri. Songa gwe ayagala okuteesa ng'oyita ku ssimu, ennamba z'essimu ze zino wammanga. MTN eri 0789 017145 0789 017145. Songa te Airtel eri 0759 132310 0759 132310 ye namba ya Airtel kusobola okubeera nga ate oyita nobeera kitundutundu ate ku program ey'olunaku luno olwaleero. Oba si kyo osobola okuba nga ogenda televu ku The Alternative Uganda Facebook page awamu ne Digital TV mu comment section w'oba oteeka endowooza yo. Council Aaron ajja kubanga akuddamu bulungi nnyo. Ndaba nga ebibuuzo byatuuse dda. Mugende maaso n'okubanga muweereza ebibuuzo ebyo. Council ajja kubanga abiddamu. Muwulira EACOP eno nno East African Crude Oil Pipeline eno yali eno project yateekebwako omukono eggwanga erya Uganda n'eggwanga erya Tanzania okubanga ate bateekawo omudumu ogunaatambuza amafuta okuva mu ggwanga lino erya Uganda okutuuka ku Tanga Port mu ggwanga erya Tanzania, era nga ensonga eno ebaddemu ddiiro okumalira ddala ebbanga eriwera. Parliament ey'amawanga ga Bulaaya munnange bwe yatudde ne basalawo nti project eno Uganda yali badde nga egiyimiriza era nga bawadde ensonga ez'enjawulo okuli ensonga y'obutonde bw'ensi nti pipeline oba omudumu guno wegunaayita gujja kubanga gukosa obutonde bw'ensi awamu n'ensonga y'eddembe ly'obuntu okusingira ddala abo ababadde mu kifo oba mu bitundu omudumu guno wegugenda okubeera nga ate oguyita okubanga bakoseddwa mu ngeri emu oba endala. So tugenda mu maaso n'okubanga tugaayagaaya mu nsonga eyo yennyini endowooza ng'ezazzaako okukikuteera mu lulimi oba oliawo gwe atasobola kubanga okitegeera mu luzungu osobola okubanga okitegeera okusinziira ate ku ngeri gy'enkinnyonnyoddemu. Naye kansogenzereyoko ewa Council okusinziira ku ngeri gy'okinnyonnyoddemu Uganda butya bwe tugenda okufunamu mu mafuta gano agasimiddwa kiraga nti tetugenda kufunamu kyamaanyi. So twetaaga amafuta gano.
Amafuta tegeetaaga, kyetwetaaga power nga eva mu musana, eva nga mu wind n'amazzi aga hydro.
Okay.
Twandibadde kyetwetaaga sente naye tuzirina okuzinoonya awalala nga tetuzinoonya mu lufu mu kufa. tetusobola kunoonya sente from death.
Naye kanso naalisuubidde nti twalinoonyeza ssente nga tutandikira ku byobugagga bye tulina. Amafuta kikimu ku byobugagga kati bitwakazuula.
Naye olaba ekkubo ly'oyitamu ojja kubeera mulamu ojja kubeera mufu kubanga ekkubo totalo lye yatulaze lino lituleka nga tuli bafu, obutonde bwaffe nga bufudde, ne ikonomi nga nyonoonefu, obulamu bwaffe bufu nga bwe yatugambye World Health Organization, n'obugabe bw'abantu nga bulinyiriddwa. So eryo si kkubo ettuufu, tulina okuyiiya amakubo amalala tufune ku kasente. Kasente tukeetaaga naye nga tuli balamu.
Okay.
And sorry to cut it short a little bit. Now, Council Aaron, we are third world states. And you did highlight the fact that literally most of the other European countries, in fact the countries that are all in the first world now, have all reached that level, literally stepping on this whole, natural resource extractions and stuff. And for some reason we seem to all want to be in the same position as they are. We want to move from a third world to the first. How do we get there is it there an environmental friendly way to extract oil? Because we seem to need the money as a country.
No.
Economically.
The answer is no. There is no sustainable way of getting oil from the ground up and selling it. No, it's no longer there. So it has never been there anyway, but the world was blind because they didn't have the eyes nor the ears to see and hear the cry of the environment. Now it is clear, and the UN has come out, experts of energy have come out, experts of health have come out, experts of pollution have come out, and they are saying, if you want to live, stop oil, stop coal, stop natural gas, keep them in the ground. That's the message. Keep them in the ground. Look elsewhere. There is no life in oil. We need life, and we have to keep it in the ground. So it's sad. We have it there. So oil comes from decomposition of matter, biomatter, biomass, human beings, animals, insects, plants, over many years. Now, when all of us have a lot of carbon, when carbon is released into the atmosphere, it clouds the atmosphere and stops and traps the heat rays from reflecting back to the sun, causing what they call global warming. When the globe warms, you have more and unpredictable and intense weather events, extreme weather events. You have more floods, you have more earthquakes, you have more landslides, you have loss and damage that we just can't handle. The problem with Africa and most of the developing world is that although they contributed least to the problem we call climate change, they are going to suffer most. Climate change amplifies pre-existing vulnerabilities. If you're poor, you become poorer. If you're sick, you die. If you're healthy, you become sick.
So either
to
way,
simplify
it's going down.
So it worsens the situation of everyone, especially the bad people. Some few people, some rich people can try to reduce on the damage.
But unsustainable.
Still unsustainable. There is no one who can win against nature. It's just that the poor will die faster. And by poor people and poor nations, we mean people like Ugandans and Uganda. If you don't know an example of a poor country, somehow you need to understand. Uganda is economically a poor country.
But naturally rich.
Naturally blessed, but doesn't know how. Now, the nature that we can harness to develop is tourism. Everyone wants to come to Uganda. And tourism will give us more money than oil. So that's how we can use our environment, our nature. People just want to see how beautiful even our people are. Okay. Even before you go to the forests. You get me? We can get money from our... we need to arrange to be organized.
Yes. So
from just our landscape, our mountains, our rivers, our forests. The things we are removing are the ones that can make us rich. We are fighting wetlands, but they can make us rich and healthy. We are fighting forests, and NEMA is closing its eyes but it is forest that will remove that pollution from the
Nema has always had
atmosphere
its
and
eyes
also
closed.
give us what? Yeah. It is national parks that we need to focus on. We need to focus on our beauty and not on our dirt.
Let me
Council.
ask you, okay.
Waliwo ebigambibwa nti paalamenti eno ey'amawanga ga Bulaaya baagala kulemesa Uganda kusima mafuta olw'ensonga nti nabo balina ebigendererwa ebyabwe. Is it right mu ngeri yo oba ggwe nga bw'osobola okukinnyonnyola because waliwo ekyaliwo mu ggwanga erya Libya olutalo omwafiira Muammar Gaddafi waliwo line gye bagatta nti mwalimu ensonga y'amafuta.
Ebyo byonna bisobola okubaawo naye resolution ye clear, reason zaayo ziri clear ate nga ntuufu. Naye bw'obeera eggwanga, bw'obeera omukulembeze n'ofuka eggwanga ly'olubi oba ow'olukusa abalabi bo kuyingirira ne boogera nti ono afuuse bubi. Okitegeera? So lwaki obawa gap? Bw'oba oli ttiimu ng'osamba defense yo neeba weak oba omulabi olukusa oba chance ya kuyingira ne scoringa. So tulina okufuga amawanga gaffe bulungi, tulina okutunulira wala ne tutabeera myopic. So Uganda ng'ensi erina okubeera n'abalabi kubanga abatufuga bakoze abalabi bangi ne mu mawanga gatwetoolodde.
Council, where do you draw a line between the self-determination of states as opposed to the international law application? Because now we seem to be at a point where we are conflicted on, as a country, shouldn't we make our own decisions, ones that we see fit? At what point do we know that this is a decision as a country we should make, and this is one that we can listen to the international law?
So Uganda, we just have to be serious. We can choose whether to, as a parliament, debate nyege, or we can debate development. It's a choice that is simple. We have to make it. On sovereignty, the climate is global. It's a global asset. The environment doesn't know boundaries. Lake Victoria is there, doesn't even know that Uganda exists.
But when let's say some
Lake
country
Victoria, we share it with Tanzania, we share it with Kenya.
Now I understand on that perspective. Sorry to cut you short again. Literally the same practices when they happen in the Europe. I have not seen any one African country stand to say, look, what you're doing in, let's say, Netherlands is a wrong thing. You shouldn't be doing it, in fact. I have not seen a lot of those things happen. How does it come that
it doesn't mean that we don't have a right to say so. African countries are being quoted for opinions on Russia and Ukraine war.
Because sometimes we just want to go where the wind blows, and we are in that direction.
But some countries actually siding with Russia, although many are sitting on the fence, which is an indirect, a cowardly way of supporting Russia. So what I'm saying is that every country can speak on some matters, and their matters they will decide. But there are like 3 categories of matters which are exceptions to the general rule that the sovereign states should determine their affairs. One such exception is matters of human rights. For them, they are universal, and everyone has a right to protect them. That's why when Trump is racist or starts harassing Mexicans, we talk about it. When we see racism in America, we call it out. When we see people dying on the Italian coastline, we call it out. When we see British being very mean with its refugee policy, we call it out. Matters of human rights do not respect sovereignty. Matters of environment are by nature cross-border because environmental assets are shared assets. If it is a forest, like the second biggest forest, Amazon, is in the Congo. And that's even where Goma falls, and it's shared with Congo, the forest. The Lake Albert, which is under threat from EACOP, is shared with Congo. So matters of environment, they can be discussed, and they are shared, regardless of sovereignty. And climate change, for it, it's a global issue. That's why we have the Paris Agreement.
Yes, which we are signating.
So you cannot fail to talk about Paris Agreement because of sovereignty. No, the countries themselves have yielded, they have given away their sovereignty, that when it comes to environment, when it comes to human rights, when it comes to climate, then everyone should be watching us and advising us on what to do. And when you don't like the advice, you can shout yourself hoarse, but it does not change an international treaty.
And there has been this discussion of the neo-colonial tendencies. Now, I'm going to draw, she did hint on the whole thing of Libya. And I want to relate this whole approach to what actually still happens in West African, Maghreb countries, the North African countries. Now, literally, all the arms deals that are sold there are coming from the European countries. And by and large, most of those are destabilized countries. In fact, you will see Muammar Gaddafi, he was called a monster for how he was leading Libya. But part of the artillery that he was using to silence people or do whatever they termed monsters were also funded by the European Union countries. The most arms dealers are Netherlands, they are Spain, they are Italy, they are the United Kingdom itself, they are US. Most of those countries are the ones who fund. And so you realize that their economies literally depend on those cells, but they come back and lecture us on what human rights violations are when they are the ones literally that are supporting that whole process because they give them the means to. So at what point do we draw a line or come to believe that the EU has the best interests of the people at heart when they stand to actually benefit the most in most of these things?
The EU society, just like our society, is diverse. There are people who are interested in good things, they are bad people, they are good people in Europe. So, and all these contradictions express themselves in how those states interact with us. Yeah, there will be people who are rooting for environment, genuinely, because like these people who sponsored, they come from Green Party. There is an environmental movement in Europe coming up, even gaining traction in terms of electoral victories. Yeah, but also they are they are Trump types. You get me? There is Marie Le Pen in I don't get her name right in France. They are all those people who are racist. They also want political power, the far right. It is also, if it gets power, then they will be just kicking Africa as if they are dogs. Yes. So there are good people in Europe, there are bad people in Europe. We just have to work with the good ones. We have to support the good ones.
That's a point. We don't understand which ones are the good ones.
No,
because even when they do good things, they have ulterior motives behind. And so you don't understand which one is coming. They will come portraying as the good sense, as the missionaries, as a good sense, but they will evolve eventually when you let them in. So
now you could see that the missionaries were not here to preach, although by accident they did some good things. But
by accident,
by accident,
yes. So, but they were here as part of the colonial project. The green people, as an example of good people in Europe or in the West, they have not yet gained power. Bernie Sanders has tried, but he hasn't gained power. There is this Omar from Somalia and so on. There are people, you judge them by consistency. People can change anyway, and some people you can't rule out ulterior motives, but you want to compare their rhetoric and their action and their history. Yes. If Manchester United came here and told you they want to break a wall, you don't know they are not going to pray it. No, they are lying.
Because they are that, straight, they don't pray.
So you have to know their history. Can these people actually break a wall? They pray Ogwegomborora. You get me?
Okay.
You need to, like, it is our duty now. The Europeans are going to sort themselves for us. It is our duty to hire the right people, make sure we have patriotic people in the government, not the ones signing oil deals blindly. We can't kill our judiciary, kill all institutions here, and expect that we are going to make right decisions. No, we don't have that capacity because we have killed it. People of merit are freeing the country. You get me? Our brilliant people can't find opportunities here. The wrong guys get in the government because they can call someone, they are relative to someone.
They relate anyway with
me.
The others in government.
You can't run a country on the basis of a first family. You can't run natural resources. People can't keep stealing, logging, lumbering just because they are connected. You get me? And you think you're going to deal with Total. No. Those countries which we are envying, people become successful on the basis of their sweat,
collective
their
growth.
talent, their merit. Like if you're talented, they will even identify you. You don't need to go. People will be looking for you. Here, if you're talented, you have to beg people who are not talented to rise. That's not a country. You are not running a country. You get me? Yes. You have to beg. You who know, who is knowledgeable, who is talented, but in a working system, the talent is pursued, is looked for, is nurtured. Here, even if you are bringing gold, they will promise you a pitch, you will not get it. You're on your own. We are on our own here. And that is our vulnerability. And when Total sees such a situation, says, this one I have to go there and get all the profit and worsen their situations and improve my own, it makes profit.
Now, where do we put the whole, you know...
The thing is that it is a governance issue. Yeah, we are doing EACOP, we are doing environment, human rights, but at the foundation, the superstructure is governance. If we don't change Musevenism, things will get worse. The guy can even go.
So he
can even corrupt day to day.
In different circumstances, it would be like if we had good governance, oil would be extracted.
Good governance, no, for oil it can't be extracted, but there are other things to do. You get me? With good governance, it wouldn't allow the extraction of oil when they have told you what it will visit on your people. You get me? In terms of health. Forget about human rights for a moment and think about people's health. World Health Organization is telling you, showing you how this oil will lead to this cancer, how this pipeline will spill as a matter of an engineering rate, and how you're going to harm your environment, which is your comparative advantage. Okay, we can produce oil. Are we going to be Saudi Arabia? Are we going to be USA? No. But USA does not have our food. I've traveled the world. There's no country, not even in East Africa, which has our food, which has our natural attractions. We need to focus on our nature, work with it to develop, and not to destroy it. And to do that, we need the right people governing it. We need the right leadership. Not just the right leaders, but the right mentality. You get me? Yeah, what Museveni has done here of commercializing politics, of removing competent people from leadership position, could live long after he has gone. And that is the biggest mistake we have done as a country. We need to fix that, so that we know that the most passionate person about the environment is not only in the ministry, but they have room to make decisions.
Yes.
That's why Bumba would have signed blindly, but not because she wants, but because she had no choice. She's not allowed to read it.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not allowed. No minister here is allowed to do their work.
The contracts are really scarce.
Don't now think that Mao is my friend, is Minister of Justice, now he's going to change the judiciary, the judicial system, the criminal justice. No. Try to do your work and you're booted.
Council, however bad something is, wabawo ekirungi.
Yeah.
So project eno ya EACOP bwebanga eyiseemu tetulinamu kirungi kyonna kye tusobola kufuna.
Ekirungi ekirimu twandikifunyemu nga tulina obukulembeze obulungi, tetubulina. Bajja kubugabba amafuta gennyini ne sente bazibbe. Tetujja kufuna omuntu wa bulijjo. Ne kibi saagala eveeyo oil eyo. Lwasonga z'endambula naye bw'evaayo tetugenda kuziraba ne sente tugenda kuziraba omulinde.
We have cobalt. Is it cobalt in Kasese? I think it's copper.
No, we have gold, as you said.
We have gold, yeah.
It's in Karamoja, it's in Weju, it's in Mubende. Mubende is a 3-hour, 4-hour drive. I actually was in a gold mine recently. I went there this Monday.
Ate era beeraliikirira ekirombe ekyo because Ebola yatandikidde mu Bende.
Era n'abaddeyo ne baddikira ne ngamba ndi safe.
So what will happen in case tulemeddwe okuteeka mu nkola ekiragiro kya EU oba resolution ya EU?
What is left to do in that instance, in fact?
EU already yakoze ekyayo kubanga advocacy yatandise. Yakiwadde life abanauganda babadde nga tebanakitegeera. Politicians babadde ku fence bavuddeyo. Besigye yasooka okuvaayo.
Okay.
Kati Bobi Wine yavuddeyo. Museveni yavaayo. kati omunyo guyingiddemu.
Bobi Wine is contradictory. He first said, Museveni says this is oil. No, it is not. It is our oil.
Yes, of course, it is Uganda's oil, but
he says we don't need it.
So
we don't need ownership anyway if we don't need the oil.
What they're saying, we don't need to get it out of the ground. You know, we don't need it to get out for the reason I'll say, because the process of getting oil out of the ground, and once it's out, will wreak havoc on the country. But it doesn't mean that it's not our oil. It's just that it should be kept there. That is the science. Keep fossil fuels in the ground. Keep them in the ground. That's what the International Energy Agency tells us. That's what the World Health Organization is telling us. That is what the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is telling us. All the scientists agree that if we are going to fix climate change, which is the bigger goal, we have to keep fossil fuels in the ground. We don't have to like that, but that is the science. Let's follow it. You can ignore the politics of Museveni and his other political adversaries, but you need not to ignore what the scientists are saying. Because what we are dealing with is science. Climate is science. It is degrees, they are calculations. I just don't want to make rule the loss, but we could come up with family.
We have quite a number of comments on our platform. I see there's one. I'll read this one. I think we'll read one after another. Patricia Monk says, we have heard that they plan to bury the pipes very deep in the ground. Does this mean that the impacts are less or totally not harmful to the environment?
No. When you're burying, what do? Do you send it naturally? So you first rip the forest cover, you first remove, so you have to dig, and then this is a heated oil pipeline.
Yes.
It's the longest. So wherever it is vulnerable. But environmentally, there is a biodiversity in the ground.
There's another impact.
Yes. Then you have already interfered with the above ground environment. Then you have to warn people that there is something here you can't dig in a given way. So it will not, it reduces, but it will not solve the problem. Yeah.
Okay. Waliwo waneno abuuzizza ekibuuzo n'agamba nti can't this EACOP and government of Uganda be sued in regional courts of law over different gross rights violations?
The answer is yes, and there is a case against them in France and in the East African Court of Justice.
Okay. And there is, again, Patricia, she says, what would be the impact if the government reconsider the decision and decide to do a refinery instead? So now we don't have to transport it from here to wherever?
So you have, you limit the consequences of transportation, but you still have to deal with the climatic implications of oil as oil.
Under good governance, would that be a bearable condition?
It would be less problematic, but it wouldn't be a renewable energy. It is still a dirty energy. So the idea is keep it in the ground. If it comes out, there had better be good governance. But the health consequences are not solved. The climatic and health consequences cannot be solved by good governance. What can be solved are the human rights and the economic by good governance. So regardless of the government we have, oil will kill you. Because do you know plastics come from oil?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so heavy metals will kill you. Toxic substances will deal with you regardless of the government. Of course, if you have a good government, it will mitigate better. It will try to, but still it doesn't remove the inherent character of oil as a dirty oil.
Mukulutu Muhimbi Noman agamba, ask Councillor Aaron Kiza on whether the EU parliamentary resolution isn't depicting the neo-colonial tendencies, or rather a bet towards Museveni to enable Museveni, to do dubious activities that benefit the West. I'm sure we all know that Africa dictators will always defy such and be left so as long as they still serve the interests of those Magulumeru of this world.
Yeah, it just shows you that Europe is not homogeneous. It has a diverse pressure groups, interests, and this EU comes from, the EU resolution comes from good part, the people part, because these are parliamentarians representing the views on the ground, the grassroots of Europeans. It's not the political, military, and business cabal that you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are trying to influence the ones whom no man is fearing. But yes, Museveni is actually a darling of the West. I mean, he's giving them whatever they want, regardless of what they think.
Of the cost.
So, yeah.
This one says, Councillor, and I heard there is an estimate of 10 years for us to fix our environment.
Yes.
Which you did hint about some days ago, or work on solutions to solve the climate crisis. Could you please paint for us a picture of what might happen if we don't work on these solutions?
Why?
What could happen if we don't actually adhere?
So floods will get worse. Kampala could just become another lake. And as we speak now, a third of Pakistan has been immersed in floods.
In water, yes.
So it could be like what is happening in France or worse. You could get like times 10 of what is happening in Karamoja in terms of famine. So basically, even us here, we may not have what to eat, and then food will not come to studio. I'm not going to come here on an empty stomach.
Yes.
If I didn't have
There want to
supper.
be a studio in fact.
So drought will be such that fires could just start coming.
Like you're saying,
We have, we have no food. When rain comes, it will be a lot
Too much
worse.
of it.
But then it may take long to come. So that when it comes, it's like in 1 month and it's too much. And
So either way, it's problematic.
Whatever happens, yes, it is an extreme situation that happens.
Okay.
After 10, that is before 10 years actually, towards the 10. After 10 years, we can't do much. They say it becomes self-perpetuating disasters. So within 10 years, we can fix this problem. Beyond that, we are on the mercy of God. Okay, we are always under the mercy of God, but we are helpless completely. Yet now there is something we can do. Technology-wise, growing more forests, more trees, depending on the sun instead of oil, depending on wind. So we still have it within our hands to solve the climate crisis, but we don't have forever.
Okay. Lwaki tetulabye parliament by the way nga ebeera eddoboozi ku nsonga ya EACOP eya Uganda.
And why do we attach more importance on some foreign, pronouncements than our own?
Tulina parliament. Parliament teriiwo.
Tulina parliament ekubirizibwa speaker Among.
Ebyo bifaananyi speaker waki?
Ate ababaka betwalonda.
Kati parliament
the MPs okay.
Ezo agreements za total zerina bazirina.
That's true. That's very true.
Museveni n'obwakuba essimu busimu taye bw'asobola okugaana Museveni kyamugambye. Kati tuba tukyalina parliament. You see, parliament ebeerawo nga waliwo separation of powers. Waliwo checks and balances. Kyengamba nga taye bw'asobola okucheckinga Museveni. Kati akisobola. Just bamuyita buyise mu kaka.
I think that is not even logical.
So kati ekyoyita parliament kifaananyi, tetulina parliament wano, tetulina judiciary, tetulina nema, tuli mu kavuyo, tuli mu chaos. Ekintu kyonna Besigye yakinyonyolako ne balowooza nti munyiivu. Naye mutunule bulungi, njagala muzuukuke mutunule bulungi. Tulina parliament wano.
Tulina ababaka okay.
Buli kyeyagala ababaka tulina.
Naye tetulina parliament.
Naye parliament yo teriiwo.
Mukulu Luma naina comments biri. Esooka egamba, not sound like I support the bushman whom many know as Museveni, but rather to sound a little bit objective. I think as a country we need this oil extracted. If we all agree, then we can aim onto how our country can extract it in line with environmental friendly conditions, rather than pretend that we don't need it at all. I think the problem with this oil I think the problem isn't with this oil, but rather the how question on how safe we do extract it, or else we may be like the woman in the Bible who asked King Solomon to cut the baby onto two.
No, that's not the situation. We may need oil, but once it comes, what are the consequences? I'm not saying we don't have a desire for it. The desire is there, but
At what cost?
when it comes,
Okay.
we will regret.
Even
In terms
more
of
than
health, because it is science. These are not emotional things. If you want me to be emotional, no man, I can be. I can even. I would want to hug you, but this is science. It's World Health Organization telling us.
Okay.
So you have to produce a different report. It's International Energy Agency telling us. Yes, keep these things in the ground. So yes, we may need it. We would want it, but once it comes, we will regret. The world has to, climate will regret, health will regret. It is unhealthy. Extracting oil is simple and healthy in simple terms.
Naye oide no bwa yali tutunze mu mawanga g'ebweru ne Uganda nayo tulina amafuta.
Amafuta genda kututta.
Second comment ya mukulu Norman agamba naye nga Sekajanja, where was this EU Parliament for over 15 years since this whole oil project started? There seems to be something fishy in this EU resolution.
Kati anenya EU Parliament nga tasose kunenya ababaka be cha Parliament tukakisanyeko naye ababaka be babaddewa.
Bali mu kuteesa ku
Yeta ina MP Java. Kampala tayina MP katoloza nsere kajja kubuza totale.
Owamakinde West ali mukomera. Sewanyana.
Ekintu kiri abapalamenti bano tebasobola kujjayo nabanne mukomera katoloza badinge ne totalo mulimu omuntu oba omulaba nti bino tabisobola kati EU yesobola kubisobola 15 years balina ebirala by'okukola tolowooza nti kino ekya EACOP kye EU it's not even number 80 ebintu bingi ebyokukola mu Europe kano ka EACOP basobola n'okukajja
it's Europe, it's not even Africa.
So okukiyingira mufa abakibayingizemu civil society ya wano ne green movement gye nkugambye eri emergent mpya ekyali it is getting a lease of life because Europe bya green yali nga tebiriko nayo ye yatuleeta n'ekizibu mu kusooka kino ekya climate change. Europe ne America be bakireeta bebasinga naye ekizibu kye tulina bo basobola okugezako at least protecting naye ffe tuli live bannange tuli live tetulina
You don't have any protection.
yes so bwe twegeraganya n'Amerika balina condoms
Protection.
bannange.
So Council, what is left to do for especially Ugandans? Now we have seen the EU pronounce itself on the issue. I hope we will hear the AU and all
Kato omuntu alina protection bwakugamba nti kino kitta gwe n'ogamba obadde oludde
Bannayuganda babadde n'essuubi lingi mu mafuta gano oluvannyuma lw'okugazuula nga balowooza nti ebbeeyi yago egenda kendeera.
Is a disease. Lwaki tuviddeyo kati tubategeeze kintu kino suubi liri mu ignorance mutamanya consequences mutamanya ekintu kino kitambula kitya na n'obulimba bwa Museveni ne ttiimu ye kinayindise propaganda kubanga ebintu bye twogera babimanyi naye tebaagala kubategeeza kati tusanyuke nti abantu abatwagaliza bavuddeyo batandise okutunyonyola ate tubawulirize bwebanga tetubawulirizza fenna kano tukafiiramu wamu naye gwe nkolaba oyina osobola passport bw'olaba nti Kampala etandise okusweringa oyinza okubuuka nze nkolaba
agitulekera
era Museveni tasobola kukabeeramu naffe bwe bigaana wano era yali ne Sweden luli nga tannajjanda wano nga zalanda mulimu abagenda kukafiiramu naye mulimu ate abagenda kuki ne banoonya walala.
Council, Russia is one of the leading producers of these related, resources, and I have not heard at any one point when the EU has said Russia needs to stop doing that. In fact, it supplies them. Yes.
Yeah.
So
they can't
how do I measure that with what they are trying to do here?
You are talking about EU as it's speaking with one voice. Even this resolution had its opponents. They were just...
But now they are the representative of what they are trying to inform us,
and
they are not practicing what they are telling us.
Russia is a unique situation because Russia is beating some of them. kati gwe woba oli mu class osobola okugamba class monitor nti kino tokikola tomanyi ng'agenda kuteeka ku list ya noise makers.
Tufena tuli ba students.
Ya noise makers. Kati Russia si nyangu ye ebeera buli lunaku Putin agamba mbakube nuclear. Nzijeyo nuclear. Ne America etuula naye negamba sibu kati
But we have also not stopped receiving those resources from Russia.
Yes,
so
yes,
I
yes,
thought
yes,
as people, as they have what
and
they
that
can
is
do.
what the World Health Organization is telling them, that stop new investments in fossil fuels and then phase down, starting with you. They are also stubborn. The difference between them and us is that for them they have protection, we don't. Europe can protect itself from some of the...
Except the environment does not segregate it.
Now, indeed, environment doesn't segregate. You can, Europe can last a month, we can't last a day. So we must know that we will die before they die.
Either it's climate change.
However, they can't survive what they are. It is just foolishness. That's why some of their citizens are doing what? Are ganging against them. That's why eventually, like again in 10 years, you'll have more environmentally aware governments in Europe. Because like now, even in Germany, part of the ruling coalition, the Green people are part of it.
And even I think the youngest member of the European Union is a very young person.
Yeah, and
who's from Germany actually.
Yeah, and I think he's the one who has been.
And he's the one who has actually been at the center of this whole resolution.
Yes, I saw the gentleman.
So we are running out of time, but I wanted your comment on the new guidelines of the bail applications in Uganda. Just a highlight of what do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, it's one of those things that had to be done to cool Museveni's down, because Museveni has been campaigning illegally a constitutional provision on bail. And somehow some people want to show that there is work being done. Museveni is scapegoating bail, but that our problems have nothing to do with bail as a country. It's not a cause of criminality, it's not a cause of injustice. We need a strong judiciary, well-resourced with the best people, transparently appointed. We need to divert our military from fighting. It's our people, torturing our people, protecting our borders. We need police to stop policing civil society and political opponents and actually start fighting crime. Without that, so because that has failed, that's not what is happening. And once there is crime, you want to get someone to blame. What do? You just blame the judge who has given bail, anchoring his decision and the law. No, bail is very important. Some people are innocent, and there is a system to gauge who is innocent, who is guilty, and it should be respected. Museveni is not a lawyer. He should let lawyers decide these matters.
President
these are not military matters.
Okusalamu ekirimi katono nnyo kanso. President yagambye bagenda kwekenneenya ensonga eno ya bail balabe butya bwe bagikyusa. Abalamuzi basusse okuwa bail abantu abakola emisango egya naggomola.
Bail ebeeramu na bukwakkulizo. Ate bail kintu kya human rights. Naye omulamuzi asooka n'atunula mu nsonga n'alaba osaanidde bail oba tosaanidde bail. Bw'olowooza nti omulamuzi alina ekizibu muteeke mu Judicial Service Commission. Ate tandikira n'okulonda omulamuzi omulungi w'otagenda kuduumira ekyokukola. So ekizibu si bail. Bail is okay. Naye guidance tezituyamba nnyo kubanga constitution eri clear ku conditions za bail. So nze guidance tubadde nga tetuzeetaaga naye okusanyusa Museveni kazibeerewo owunda ayinza okukita n'agamba n'akoma okuandamininga bail kubanga nagwo agufuuze mulimu alowooza mulimu kudicampaigninga bail.
Don't you think nti judiciary nawo wabendinze nnyo eri omukulembeze w'eggwanga?
Babendinze nnyo okubanga
naye nga tetwalisuubidde amen okubeera ngeri independent nga basobola okwesalirawo oba okukola amateeka tebasuubira nti matuufu.
Museveni judiciary yagigulako olutalo dda ate agenda ng'agigonza aginafuwaza pointing authority ate nga tayagala nti bapointinga tubakubye mu tooki. Kaliwo nga tetubakubye mu tooki emyaka eweze eyita mu 10 nga nkola ekintu ng'ekyo ekitalimu amagezi abantu bobeera ng'olina abamu babeeramu era babeeramu ebituli ate so ekintu kya judiciary Museveni yakikola project ye agenda akipoliticizinga
nga tetunaba kuwunzika still council njagala kupickinga your mind ku Computer Misuse Act yensonga kati ebadde waliwo abagamba nti egendereddwamu kutunuulira bannamateeka
nga bimu bye twogedde wano Computer Misuse Act ngenda kufuluma ono nsanze abapoliisi nga baneze nga bagamba ekyo tebagala twogere kyetuwuliriza bagala twogere nga tutyamu naye kino bwenkyogera
kino tekigenderedde ku phasing out social media ne bannamawulire
olutalo ku social media ate ku lutalo generally ku freedom of expression
because now we don't have faith in the institutions. The only way we have is now being also
social media yatuyambako nnyo okuexpressing ourselves nga tetuyise sirina kuwandiika tukonene ngisindikire Daily Monitor nkwata peni nentayipinga ku simu yange nengamba nti EACOP eri eti tugiyimirize lwasonga kinene kubanga bwe nkisindika mu vision eyinza okugamba editor nakisaza so tebalina kyebatawanya kibabeera expensive okucollectinga narrative bandi babadde nga bawa opinions zaabwe naffe netuwezaffe ku social media kubanga social media government mweri naye teyagala kukola mulimu so baagala baberereze so bagamba kiki ekyo kikola katufuneyo eteeka erina abazibe emirimu so ye Misuse Act katufuneyo eteeka erina abatiisa bagita chilling effect ye Computer Misuse Act katufuneyo eteeka erituyamba kukola akalulu nga opposition tebakoze campaign tebacriticise
agamba targeting opposition activists and journalists
katukifuneyo yo Computer Misuse Act kwegamba kati with Computer Misuse Act ne opinion yo bwebe opinion yawo nga bawulira tebajagadde oba waliwo wenyeyiziza ate ekyo kirina okubeera.
I mean, we have people suffering from annoying the person of the president.
So kati omuntu ng'ali nga munyiivu mulimu abantu nga babazaala bwe bati nga bagambwe
nga kubadde abanyiivu naturally
kumaca kati abantu basaasidde.
But the problem is this time is no one who is safe, whether it's an opinion, whether you're extreme, everyone is just...
Naye bagenda ku-implementing of course selectively. Kati bagamba ono ye katumuleke agambe kato omuntu waffe
kayogedde katono.
Okay, we can bear with that.
Naye ono atukubye nnyo katumukwateko. We baagalidde baagala kibeereko nga balina ekyokukolesa bwe banga baagadde oba waliwo omuntu bwe bagamba twagala kusiba omuntu naye nga tetulina musango ku ye ate wayagala munonye tewali quotation gyalina mu mawulire oba kiki banoonye it will be one of those laws that they will use to stifle opposition, censure media and intimidate the population from speaking out.
Okay, Council, I think we have used our time in this space, and at this point you can just give us your parting shots, what your concluding remarks are.
We should prioritize our planet, we should side with nature, and we should stop EACOP.
Simply put. I think you had the man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. My name again is Roger Suriabwe, and I and my colleague Lillian have been here to understand what this whole EACOP project means. I hope you did learn a thing or two. I think it's important that we prioritize life above money, because let me tell you, you can't buy life. It's just once given, once taken. There's no negotiation, there's no middle ground, there's no gray area. So he did mention that, and that we need to prioritize. As much as we need growth and development, we can find other avenues. To find growth and development, we can't find other avenues to live. It's just simple, plainly put. So that is what has been here. I'm going to give Lillian to also say some bye, or if she doesn't want, we can have a good day all together. Ladies and gentlemen, see you.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.